Welcome to Tuesdays with Terri and Theresa. Marie. Theresa.
Hey everybody, how are you? Hi Terri, how you doing?
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So, as you know, we have been doing a mini series for women in business. We hope that you have all enjoyed our little tips on how to help you as women in business survive and thrive post COVID-19, because we are all trying to find our new normal, and we all want to stay in business, and we all want to stay relevant. So Terri and I have come up with 4 tips to help you on your journey to success and finding and reaching your potential. So Terri, what were your first 2 tips that we can remind everybody?
Okay, my first 2 tips was number 1 was to join the Chamber of Commerce, because we all know that connection groups and have grants for women for women-owned business. And number 2 was find your passion. The only way to do great work is love what you do.
Love that.
What were your 2 tips?
So my tip number 1 was find your presence. Talked about quickly how to have charisma, and when you have charisma, you build your confidence, and in order to feel more self-confident, you have to find your presence. You need to be able to walk into a room and own the room. My tip number 2 was find what you lost, because many of us, like myself, as women who have a tendency to self-sabotage, I did that for years. I had to identify what I lost: missed opportunities, missed jobs, friendships, people in my life. Identify what you lost so that you can move ahead and move on and learn from there. So Terri, what is your tip number 3 for today?
Tip number 3, line up multiple sources of funding.
What's that mean?
That means do your research. I mean, if you would have done tip number 1, you would have joined the Chamber of Commerce by now, and you would be networking and finding, different avenues of financial aid. All right. So this is where, when you are ready to go to the bank, I have a program that right now is where you assess yourself. Are you ready to be a business woman entrepreneur? That's number 1. And I have a course for that. It's a short little questionnaire to see if you are ready. 2 is a comprehensive business plan. Before you can go and find your funding, you really need to have a comprehensive business plan, because in there, it will have everything, so that when you go to the bank, it's going to know that you're credible and you're serious about it and you did your research. That's what banks and funding people want to know. Did you do your research? So tip number 3 is do your research. So with that, I have a program, and I have a couple different programs and courses that will be well suited for your personality. And that also includes, legally establishing your business name and all the legal ramifications, but that's getting far ahead. First, you need to start with your research and then do a comprehensive business plan. And I can help you every step of the way with that. So how about you? What is your 3rd tip?
Well, my 3rd tip for today is find your alignment. And what do I mean by that? You have to find your place. Now, when you are doing step 1, finding your presence and owning the room, learning how to use your charisma and develop charisma, and for tip number 2, to find what you lost and go after it and go after some new things, you will eventually see a shift, okay? You will start to align yourself with where you are going, your future, your success, your potential. what happens is we get nervous, or we begin to fall back into self-sabotaging, and we are afraid to step into the shift. Now, for myself, for instance, way back when I first started, I wish I had somebody to help me with these steps. There wasn't a lot of people that I had in business in my fields who could help me or who were available. Maybe I couldn't find them. So I definitely want to push here the fact that we all need coaches, mentors, and business advisors. So with that said, you've got to learn to step into the shift, because your life is definitely going to change as you start applying these principles. You are going to see areas of your life fall off because they no longer serve you. You are going to see new opportunities coming your way because you are getting into the alignment for your future. In other words, you're going from here to there. So you need to learn to step into the shift and go with it. Just like a canoe. When you're in a canoe, if you're going upstream and you're paddling, and you're trying to go against the current, it's very difficult to keep paddling upstream. But when you relax and you allow the current to take you, it may turn your canoe around, but it will take you smooth sailing. So that's my tip number 3.
I love
So Terri, let's talk a little bit about because you are a very successful entrepreneur. You have helped many people find their passion and help them with business plans. Tell us about how you, with your company, tell us how you can help women in business.
That's a great question. Well, I first start off with an assessment with the DISC personality assessment. It's a behavioral personality assessment. It's very simple, and it's a tool that will yield profound insight into human actions, your human actions personally, and your behaviors. And it identifies like 4 different personalities, which is the D is for dominance, influence is I, the C is compliance, and the S is, I think I jumped because I'm looking at myself in there. The S is, and we can't forget about those S's, they're steady, which is fantastic to get to know who you are. And the DISC is your awareness, which, you know, I had a quick thing that I was going to show here. This is the assessment. And it's like 31 pages, and we work, and I don't know if you can see here, we work out of these graphs in here. There's 3 different graphs, and that's what's so different about the DISC than any other personality behavioral assessments. And it's great for women in business. It will help them get more aligned with themselves to move forward. Now, I have a quick thing on DISC. You know, I'll give you an example of DISC. The D person gets in an elevator and pushes the button and closes the door. The I personality is in the elevator saying, oh, wait, we can get more in there. You know, the more the merrier. The S waits in line and keeps moving from line 1 to line 2 to get on the elevator, and it keeps letting other people go on first. Now, C gets in the elevator, counts all the people around, and looks at the capacity that could stay on that elevator. And if it's over, if this person thinks it's over, we'll either get out of the elevator or ask somebody else to get out. Which is, yeah, that's just a quick, fun example of it. You may be all 3 of them, all 4 of them, or you may be 1 or 2 and say, oh yeah, that sounds like me. So that gives you an idea of all the things that you're going to learn about yourself, like how you actually are. And then you're going to start looking at other people and say, oh, I think that person is like this. But we don't try to put anybody in a box. That's not what we're trying to do. So how does GRID help women stay or start a business, a new business?
So yeah, so like DISC, that you are able to assess personality, leadership traits. GRID is a system that I've designed for people who keep feeling like they're banging their head against the ceiling, like there's a lid and you can't get past that. So I've created a curriculum called the Grid. The Grid is an acronym. Now, we all know what a grid is. It's a series of vertical and horizontal lines, and we fill grids in. I believe we all are born with an emotional grid, and we fill that emotional grid in as we go through life. I found for many women, many people, like myself, based on the people who impacted me for most of my life, things get downloaded into our subconscious. And I found that people who self-sabotage continually bang their head and can't get past that lid. So if you are looking to up-level your success, if you are looking to make a change in your life, I've created this system. It's a simple 2-step system whereby you can find the clues. My first part is clue, and we talk about the clues. For instance, some things that I've seen, 4 specific common belief patterns that keep people stuck is negative thinking, suffering significant loss, and not being able to get past them, feelings of not being worthy to be, to do, and to have, especially with women. I see this a lot. We somehow are, we are impacted by family members, the culture, the schoolyard bullies. We find that we are not worthy, or we believe we are not worthy to have and to be and to do all that we were created for. And finally, a consistent worry about what other people think of you, and always looking at where you should be, where you could be, and comparing. So those are the 4 common belief patterns that I go into deeper. And then Grid is the way to audit the patterns and change them and replace them. And the Grid is the second part, where you are able to identify the negative beliefs, change them, and replace them. And that is what gives you the opportunity to reach your full potential, break past those barriers, nudge those negative belief patterns, and move ahead in life, business, relationships, health. So like DISC, it's an assessment where you can find what's driving you and be better.
As listening to you, that is great. I love when you say identify, change, and replace. That is so perfect for women to get started in business. It's a great thing to do. A great.
So I found that, and I'm sure you have too, that women, sometimes we are designed to believe that we can't be successful. And I found that with myself. So sometimes I think we get to a certain level of success and then we start self-sabotaging. Mm-hmm. So that's why I created the Grid.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So next week, tip number 4, we're going to be talking about focusing and finding your tribe. So, and that's going to be, and then we'll also talk about our course, our new course that we have out, and it's for 90 minutes, and it's for women in business on finding your tribe. So that will be great tip for next week, and we'll go into more detail next week. But until then, thank you for joining us. And do you have anything else to say, Teresa?
No, just, please feel free to reach out to Terri or myself if you want to delve deeper into the DISC assessment and find your leadership style to help you increase your leadership ability. Or if you want to delve into the Grid system as to why you keep sabotaging your success, and help to assess where you are and budge those negative belief patterns. So either one of us, reach out to us, and we'll see you next week. Please Share these short videos on your page with your friends. We look forward to seeing everybody next week on Tuesdays with Terri and Theresa.
I think that's great. Your email is, or your website is?
My website is glennmillscc.com. My email address is glennmillscc@gmail.com. Terri, what's your information for people to get you?
My email is terribarthel@verizon.net. And my website, until my new one is done, is www.johnmaxwellgroup.com/Terri Barthel. So we look forward to seeing you next week. I hope we added value to you. I enjoyed being here. Teresa enjoys being here. And we love